guys. My name is Marina. I'm here representing in Brazil. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Hey, Marina.
So my first question is for all of you. In my point of view, the movie doesn't have a lead role, but at the same time, the three of you play such key characters to the story. The Farron is like Ray, who is the one telling the story. Will and Charles play the leaders of the group. And I want to know how was the dynamic between you boys behind the scenes?
It was amazing. I think that what Alex and Ray had done for these guys, for us as cast, was amazing. They gave these two gentlemen right here so much responsibility that's not common at all on set. Sometimes if I had to use the restroom, I would ask Will. Not like he was gonna say no, but I would ask Will. Or if I wanted to know what we were gonna shoot next, what was our schedule looking like for the day, he would know. I didn't have to go to Ray. I didn't have to go to a PA. They really much let us. This leadership idea that they built was for real, both on screen and off screen, and they can go on.
And the thing I would say, in respect of there not being any leads, I think to a degree that's true, because really the way we hope to look at it, without being pretentious, there aren't really any characters or sort of performances so much as it's about just kind of watching this group, kind of live an experience. So it was non-traditional in lots of ways, but if anyone had an especially tough job, it was DeFaro, in the sense that he was not only representing a real life individual, because everyone had that task, but DeFaro was the only one who was representing our writer and co-director. And I think it's one thing to have the gentleman that we represent sort of come and make contributions to what we were doing, but Ray and DeFaro worked hand in hand in every single moment. He's virtually in every frame of the film, and to see how he kind of shouldered that responsibility and executed it as well as he did was really inspiring to all of us.
Thank you. Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
That's true, bro.
And for me as a viewer, it seems to be like a lot of particularities during the shooting, because there is not a lot of dialogues, but at the same time, it seems to have like some rehearsed movements and a lot of emotional scenes. So how was this process for you guys?
What's interesting that we see in the film is that everyone processes their own traumas and emotions in their own specific way, but on that specific day, we fell onto protocol. The guys on that specific day, the servicemen fell onto that protocol, and what informed that process for us as actors, which pales in comparison to what the actual servicemen and women went through, is that we did have this immersive boot camp that just informed the whole process when it came to set, where it was like a play. These takes were 10, 15 minute, 20-minute long takes, and going back to what the boot camp did for us was it was a condensed version of learning military tactics, military terminology, brevity, how to be direct, concise, and that just informed just us on set, where it was almost, we were privy to all of it after the boot camp, but we were very direct, and it was very concise, it was tight, and that allowed us to, when it came to the filmmaking, to really just, be immersed in it, and just one day we had how many shots?
The record was 82.
82 shots in one day. 82 shots. And it wasn't, and everyone, there's a lot of people to cover throughout the filming, and everyone brought it every single day. Everything.
I cannot even imagine how was it. And I want to know, how do you think this movie from a United States war stands out from others war movies?
I think one of the perspectives, I think share on this is, it's not to say that other war movies are bad or that ours is better, but I think that this film is certainly different in respect of how it is devoid of any fictional elements. any kind of dramatization, and it certainly seeks to go against the grain of kind of glorification or depicting war as something to kind of romanticize or make entertainment of. I think the goal with this film was really to show as authentically as possible the consequences of war and explore loss. This is one singular event, and as our co-director says himself, I think if you watch this film and it makes you want to go to war, there's probably something wrong with you. And so it's as much of an anti-war film as a anti-war film can be anti-war.
It seemed to me that this movie has from different skills than it usually does. It goes really deep in emotion with not a lot of words, especially for Cosmo and Joseph. So I want to know, how was it to get in this process that demands so much physical acting?
I think we were very lucky to have this 3-week boot camp before we started filming. So that kind of informed everything that we were doing on the days of shooting. That process was unlike anything I'd ever done. I'm going to risk it and speak for you.
Speak for me,
Speak for you, okay? It was unlike anything that any of us had done, and that was a big draw for the project, I think, for most of us. The experience of making this film, regardless of how it turned out, seemed like it was going to be a pretty formative and rare thing. So we learned a lot of new skills. I had never fired an automatic weapon before. That was pretty wild. Kit had a very big gun in this.
I did, yeah.
And so he was shooting that, and we didn't fire one round in the whole film. But we learned just in case.
We did the training.
Yeah, we did the training. So the whole process was electric and very informative and very fun. The process was very fun.
We have a lot of war movies and a lot of great ones, but how do you think this movie stand out among them?
The original catalyst for its existence was purely the depiction of a very specific truth in the form of an event that took place in Iraq, in Ramadi, in an apartment building, and the fact that the people who are responsible for its being started with that as the compulsion to see it through to the end means that it has a discipline behind it, a discipline and a requirement to do the utmost to be true to the events that inspired it, or not? Yeah, the events that inspired it. Not even inspired it. Inspired is not the right word. It's to be true to the events that it is doing, that it is depicting, and usually there are a certain amount of narrative embellishments, and there are certain devices employed to create a familiar structural story out of something that may take place in any given war, but this was not created for those reasons. This was created just to depict something that happened and do it truthfully, which is why it's a unique experiment in filmmaking.
And this movie is about a chapter of a very important history of the United States, where we have 3 British fellows here, and I want to know if you could tell a story or a chapter of England's story. Which one would you like to put on screen?
It's a long history. It's a very long history, so there's lots to choose from. I think certainly as 3 British men, I'm sure we could all speak to the fact that, maybe this is the case with the American education system as well, but I can only really speak for the British education system, is that often they don't teach the kids about, the slightly more negative and darker sides of British history. So maybe that would be a story worth telling.
More candid.
Yeah, a more
display of colonial terror,
Yeah.
maybe, I think that would be obviously very beneficial. I think from a societal perspective to do that.
I'd like to see a film about the Battle of Britain,
Quite right. Quite right.
For example.
where the whole
Yeah.
thing just takes place in the air.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see.
You pitching that?
I don't know.
You putting that out there?
Well, no. I would like to see it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to be in it?
I don't know. Haven't read it yet.
Let's package it. Let's package it. Package it.
Package it.
Yeah. We'll get a filmmaker. You can write it.
No, I can't do that.
I'll direct it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
OP1, they are en route to you.
3 minutes out! 3 minutes! Eyes on me and only me.
Has anyone looked at you?
Claymore rocked me, dude.